Thanks for joining me. In today's video, we're going to be talking about what to do when everything is getting on top of you. You're the step parent. Everything the stepchildren are doing is driving you mad. Hi, I post once a week, so subscribe to my channel and hit the notification key and I'll let you know whenever I post. Today, we're going to be talking about what to do when you find yourself not able to cope with all the discipline issues of your stepchild. Having them in the house, annoying you, upsetting you, you find it really disturbing and you find you can't cope, and the children are, or the child is driving you mad. What I suggest you do in situations like this is you make a list. You make a list of absolutely everything that is annoying you, and you keep the list out of sight somewhere, in a drawer, and add to it. Every time something happens, add to it, until you've got a comprehensive idea of what is the matter. When you have a look at this list, you'll be able to see what it is that is causing the problem. Maybe there'll be something that keeps on recurring. Sometimes it'll be something that happens when somebody else is here, or maybe it's at a certain time of day, or maybe it's when a certain situation happens. Maybe it's a combination of factors. But have a look at the list and see if you can make some sense of it. It's really key that in a step parenting situation, you don't wade in and try and solve every single little problem by itself. Withdraw and make a decision about how you're going to tackle this proactively. And that's what you're doing when you're making the list and then looking at it and deciding what you can do about it. What I would do is have a look at the list and put the problems, group the issues under different problem headings, and then decide which is your top priority heading that you want to address. My recommendation would be to address the thing that is bothering you the most, and that way you're dealing with your top priority issue. Then, when you've dealt with your top priority issue, you'll feel so much better. The way of solving these problems is often not to tackle the situation head on, but to look for ways to work your way around it, or set up the situation so it doesn't happen like that again, or talk to people who are not immediately involved but may be causing the problem or part of it, and see if you can find a way to address the issues so that you can feel okay about them. It's very much about setting up the system so people can follow the system, and then it won't be such a problem, rather than tackling the people themselves. So, for example, I thought of 3 examples. One of them would be that you've told the children that they're not to eat food on the sofa while they're watching in the TV room. And the next thing you know is that the uncle has arrived, and the uncle has brought a load of donuts, and he's got plates and he's dished out the donuts on the sofa in the TV room, and they're all sitting there eating them. He knows that you've got a rule that says don't eat on the sofa in front of the TV. Now, who here is at fault? It's the uncle. So, know that the issue is not with the children, and plan how to tackle this. Now, there may be some alternatives. Maybe you could talk to your partner, who could then talk to his brother or his brother-in-law, or he could say the rule as well as you saying the rule, so the uncle knows it's more of a family rule than just you, the step-parenting insisting on something. Or perhaps you can make a joke of it. Leave it alone at the time, but then say to the uncle at another time, yeah, I would love to come round on Sunday. I'll bring donuts and we'll eat on your best settee. And, perhaps we can ruin the carpet at the same time. Something, tongue-in-cheek, but makes the point. Another one would be the child dumps everything everywhere, all the time. Their shoes, their coats, their bags, their kit, just everywhere. And everything just gets messed up the moment they arrive home. Okay, so this is something that they think is okay to do. You might have told them it's not okay to do that, but they're disregarding you because perhaps their other parent doesn't insist on it, and perhaps your partner doesn't insist on it, and perhaps there is nowhere for them to put their stuff when they first arrive back into the home. So set up the system, sort out hooks, buckets, boxes, places where stuff can be put, and explain to the children that this is what you expect. And that way, you're helping the system rather than just insisting on something. Third example, the child is always demanding attention, and you don't seem to be able to have a moment's peace with your partner when they're around, because they feel as though they can interrupt at any time, go and sit on your partner's lap, insist on getting attention for doing something that they want to do. If this is one of the problems, then perhaps think about it and see if you can't allocate time for the child to have with their biological parent, so that they know they've got half an hour every Saturday or half an hour every evening to spend with their dad or mum, and that time is precious and it's theirs for them. And then gradually introduce to them that they have their time with mummy or daddy on their own later on, and therefore this is, interrupting is not such a good idea, and that it would be good if they could save up the things that they needed to say or interrupt about if they're inconsequential to the time when they've got with their dad or their mum, or gradually work it round so that when afterwards, if you've got a good relationship with them, you can say, look, when you interrupted at lunchtime today, I was, Daddy and I were just talking about this or that or the other, and it would have been better if you could just, signal that you could come up with a signal and say that you want to interrupt, and then we'll come back to you, or anything like that. So what you're doing is you're thinking proactively about how to solve the problem in advance. What's so tempting as a step parent is to say something at the time, and then that puts everybody's back up. The mum and the dad, it puts the stepchild's back up. But in a step family, a step parent's got to work in anticipation a lot more. So there's some ideas for what to do when step parenting is getting on top of you and you don't know where to turn to put things right. For links to our website, Twitter, Instagram, see the directions box below. And we offer workshops, sessions, booklets, and an email response service.